Hi, this is Andy Teach, host of Andy's Awesome Adventures, and welcome to Ireland. Welcome to the Cliffs of Moher. Awesome.
Oh yeah. As soon as you made it, oh yeah. As soon as you made it, it's not very. Yeah.
No.
Not a bad view. I believe what we're looking at here are the Aran Islands across the bay.
Men liebe Leute,
Okay, you're supposed to walk on this side of the stones, but people hop it and take a little bit of risk. People have fallen off the side and died. Please return to the official. Oh, that looks like a rock slide. Okay.
That's the Dingle Peninsula on the far side. This is Dingle Bay. The dog goes out swimming with the dolphin every day. In County Mayo. As well as that, folks, you're taking photographs. If you want photographs together or anything else, don't be afraid to ask me. I'm not just here for my good looks. This is the village of Kells. One of the biggest villages in Ireland.
oh wow.
Population around 78 people. They gather together about 4,500 to 5,000 people who gather here on Good Friday each year. They have a few light refreshments. And then they head barefooted up along the hill, all the way along for 15 kilometres, down into the town of Carsavine. Religious persecution and famine. Cheap furniture.
We're in the town of Waterville, which is along the Ring of Kerry, one of the more scenic places in Ireland, as you can see.
Home has been Triangular Island. Star Wars 7, you know the last one that came out? Skellig Islands. Up along here. You can see Skellig Field and Skellig Ruin behind it. And they are the two Skellig Islands. July and August 2014, they filmed Star Wars 7 here. They paid the fishermen around here in July and August 2014. They paid them €1,000 a day not to go fishing. To stay at home. In case we caught the camera. They went last year, 2016, for Star Wars 8. The number of fishermen around here more than tripled. And this is the biggest problem with Blue Makishna. The fog. See where it's coming in? It does that all day long.
Aillwee Cave, we sail away on the 23rd of May. We were taken on board by a pleasant crew bound for America. Fresh water we did take on, 5,000 gallons or more, in case we turn short going to New York, far away from the Shamrock shore. We sailed 3 days, we were all seasick, not a man on board was free. We were all confined unto our bunks, and no one to pity poor me. No father kind, nor mother dear, to lift up my head it was sore. Which makes me think more on the lassie I left on Paddy's green shamrock shore. So fare thee well, sweet Liza dear, likewise unto Derry town.
See that down here? It's a restaurant here called the Scariff. It's one of the most sought after restaurants on the Ring of Kerry. It's also probably one of the most expensive restaurants on the Ring of Kerry. The reason why everyone wants to go here is because the days when the fog is bad down here, you sit here for 45 minutes eating your lunch, there's a chance the fog might blow in and blow out. If you just pass down on the bus, you mightn't see anything. That is the Scariff Inn there on your right. You'll see the signpost, Ireland's best known view. Fog permitting. Section of our journey, what we like to call Connemara National Park. 25,251 acres of national park. Absolutely beautiful down here. You can see here there's 3 lakes as well, the upper lake, the middle lake and the lower lake.
You can see back here on your right hand side now where this chap here manages to source his water, or drinking water, from a spring well that's inside of this field here. And all he has to do is put a little pipe from that spring that comes right out from under the ground here. See the pipe coming out there is filling up cans of water there for him. So that's a good example of a spring well.
Another average view. Yesterday was nice and sunny. This is more typical weather, but it kind of establishes a mood, which I like. Beautiful.
The top of the turf fields here. That's all heather. Underneath it there, that material, brown or black, that's turf or peas. This bog here now is known as a blanket bog. It's only about a metre, maybe a metre and a half deep. To Tipperary, to the sweetest girl I know. Goodbye Piccadilly, farewell Leicester Square. It's a long, long way to Tipperary, but my heart lies there. That's a song, folks. It's over 100 years old. It's very beginning. Films were made here with Laurel and Hardy. They were the first actors to come up and make films in these hills. The last big film that was made here was a film called Braveheart. It was a story, a Scottish story. Now this junction here now is known as the Sally Gap. Sally translated means willow. So there must have been a lot of willow trees grown here at some stage.
This is all part of the Guinness estate.
And then just in front of us, welcome to County Clare, that big sign there. So at this moment, we're just on the border here with County Galway and County Clare. So lovely viewing. The tide is going out at the moment. It can drop about 5 meters here along the western seaboard. I think some of you might have a very big Irish breakfast this morning. My bus is feeling this rain going up the hill here. You had rashers, sausages, black puddings, extra toast, I think. Well, I certainly have great belief in Volvo power to bring us to the top of the hill here. We're officially in the Burren. The Burren is basically a huge limestone plateau that formed the bottom of the shallow and tropical ocean in Ireland. They reckon about 350 million years ago. The name Burren comes from the Gaelic name Boran, which means a place of stone or a stony ground. And you can see that it makes sense. As you look around here, you can see that it's very rocky and stony. And here in the Burren we have what the experts call cleanse and grikes here. Now, the cleanse, these are the stone pavements that you can actually see here, for example, on your left-hand side. Again on the right-hand side. And the gaps in between are called grikes. G-R-Y-K-E-S. So this type of rock formation, particularly up along the coast, you're going to see a lot of now. I'm going to give you a moment here if you like to take some photographs. We're at a place called Ballyreen. The cliffs are not as high as the Cliffs of Moher, but certainly nice to have a look at here. I'll give you 10 minutes here, guys, and just be careful.
Hey, da geht man schon.
Beautiful. This is why they call it the Emerald Isle. 40 shades of green. I believe that's Galway Bay.
Guys, so this is our very first stop. Now we call this place Fair Haven, but I'll come back to that name in a minute. Now Aillwee Cave translates into 2 Irish words of Aillwee meaning cliff and Wee meaning yellow. So it just translates as the Yellow Cliff Cave. Now back in 1940, a local farmer named Jack O'Began was up on the mountain herding his cattle with his dog when all of a sudden the dog ran off after a rabbit. Now Jack didn't take any notice of it really because his dog was very well trained and the dog usually came back to him until about 20 minutes had passed and there was no sign of the dog. So Jack got a little bit worried. So he headed back home, grabbed a box of matches and a candle and came back up to where he last saw the dog. Now that was the entrance we just came in back there. But Jack didn't walk in like we did. Jack had to crawl on his hands and knees the whole way through the cave. Now one night Jack was down at the local pub and he started talking to a group of students and they were from the University of Bristol in the UK. Now they were from the Geology Society. So geology is just a very fancy word for caving. So them students were big into caving. And these were the very first people to know about the cave in 1973, 33 years after the dog came in after the rabbit. Now, we've no idea why Jack didn't tell anybody for 33 years, but some people say he didn't want strangers going up trampling his land or disturbing his cows, while other people say he came up here to hide from his wife. Now, we don't know which one's true, but I'd say you have a fair idea yourself. Now, Jack was a bit of a messer. So, the very next day, he brought the cavers up and they started to explore. Now, they found a number of things. So, we just passed in some bones back there. And them bones are from a European brown bear, and they're between 5,000 and 10,000 years old. So the cave has a constant temperature of 10 degrees, or 50 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's pretty cold in here in the summertime, but then again in the winter it's warmer in here than it is outside. So bears used to come in here and hibernate, and you can see these hollows in the ground. These are called bear pits or bear beds. So the name is pretty self-explanatory. Okay, so as you're aware, we're in the Burren, and the Burren is 400 kilometres squared, and it's a karst limestone region. Now, if you just look up here at this tube, this is called a phreatic tube. Now, it was once a full circle, and caves are formed due to an abandoned river. So the river was gushing from the very back of the cave right out towards the main building. And this happened more than 1 million years ago. So when the last ice age came, it washed everything out of the cave, and it just abandoned it, and the river went completely dry. Now, if you just look up here on the rocks, you can see these white circles, and they're called fossils. So when the last ice age came, it just compressed all the dead organic matter into the rock. Now you'll see these fossils the whole way throughout the cave, and on every rock you'll just see all these white circles, and again they're the fossils. So rainwater is the slightest little bit acidic. So when it comes to the cracks and joints in the rock, it deposits this mineral. Now the mineral is called calcite. So when the calcite reaches the limestone, it crystallizes into many formations. So for example, they call this one the frozen river. So it just looks like a honeycomb structure or the middle of a crunchy bar. And then over here are the drapes or the curtains. Kind of look like curtains in your sitting room. And then just above that are the praying hands. So praying hands. Yeah? Everyone see that? Okay, so back in 1940, this is as far as Jack McGann got. So he found his dog right down there drinking water. So it was a very happy story in the end. Now if you just look up here at this drink of water, that water is coming from the very top of the mountain, and it's taking 20 minutes for it to come out here. Now from here, it's going down into the shallow pools of water, and it's eventually going out to the fountain outside the Birds of Prey Centre. Now from the Birds of Prey Centre, it's going out into Ballybohan Bay, which is joined up with Galway Bay on the opposite side. Now the reason we know this is just a number of years ago we put a load of red food dye up on top of the mountain, and the water started to turn red here after 20 minutes, and then the water turned red at the fountain at the Birds of Prey Centre, and then eventually it turned red at Ballybohan Bay. Now you can imagine the shock on people's faces at Ballybohan when they seen the water turn red and hadn't a clue what was going on. But we didn't say anything, and we didn't get in too much trouble for it. Now if you just look up here on the roof, these are called stalactites, but these are true stalactites, and they started off as little tiny straws that we saw back in the bridge. But what happened is that the water couldn't get through because it got either stuck by a big lump of calcite or dirt. So the water went back up towards the ceiling and out over the edge. Now, so that stalagmite there is 8,000 years old, but it's still forming today by that teeny tiny little straw up on top of the roof. So there's a really tiny straw up there that's still feeding it water today. So this part of the cave is the only part that actually floods. So it doesn't flood from above, it actually floods from below. So the water will start to rise. Now back to Christmas ago, 2015-2016, the water rose up the crack there on the roof, which was the very top of the 22 steps we came down. So the water completely covered this area, and it took about a day and a half for the water to come back down. Now at the moment,
Was there a tour that day?
350 feet of rock above our heads, which is 100